So after 1 month of being a Fiverr Pro seller, I made... Don't you just hate it when people start a video on a cliffhanger? I mean, Jesus, I know why you're doing it, but it annoys the hell out of me all the same. Here's the number if you want to know how much I earned in a month as a pro seller. But if you'd like to know how I sold that many gigs, what my experience was like, and whether that's even a good amount of money to be earning, keep watching. In the last 18 months, I've lost all my usual work. I've read hundreds of headlines, I've watched thousands of TikToks, and generally avoided daylight. What was my point? Oh yeah, a lot of those headlines were telling me some people were making absolute bank from Fiverr selling their services, and I want a piece of that pie. So I'm going to take Rishi's advice and retrain. Welcome to my new series, Side Hustles for Comedians, former comedians. In this episode, I'm going to see how much money I can earn in a month on Fiverr.com. I will say at this point, I don't think I'm going to get any sales. I'm a new seller on the site, it'll take time to build a reputation, and naturally, I'm just a little bit pessimistic. But prove me wrong, internet, prove me wrong. Part 1. What is Fiverr? Well, boomer, when it launched a decade ago, Fiverr.com was a website that allowed people to offer their services for a flat fee of, you guessed it, $5. I'm guessing the domain name with 1 R wasn't available and the one with 2 only cost $5 and they thought, fuck it, let's stick with the theme. Today, Fiverr is a massive freelance site, allowing you to list anything you can do legally. From designing your socks to casting a complex spell to help you get back with your ex for just £26. Bargain. There's 285 reviews and 10 orders in waiting. Who the hell's buying this crap? Part 2. What do I want to sell? Being such a massive website, I need to find what services I can sell before I do anything else. I want something that I'm both good at and doesn't take me a lot of time because I have both a job and a life outside of this project. Also, I believe the better you are at something, the quicker you can do it. Or at least that's what I tell my girlfriend. I wonder if Mystic Zoe has a spell that will convince my girlfriend that I'm better in bed. Focus! All right! I've narrowed it down to video, audio, or image editing. I'm going to eliminate video editing as that takes hours and I don't think anyone's going to pay me for it, at least judging by the uptake on my Patreon. Also, I'm going to eliminate audio recordings as those take hours as well and I don't trust people to send me through high quality recordings. So that just leaves images. I noticed a category for podcast artwork which has under 3,000 sellers, and I searched for YouTube thumbnail design and that has under 10,000 sellers. When I limited both categories to pro sellers, I got 0 results. Think I found my niche. Part 3. Fiverr Pro. Fiverr.
Imagine a world where you can hire the graphic designer who created one of Google's most recognized logos, the copywriter who worked on Apple's most successful campaign,
An out-of-work award-winning comedian reluctantly retraining to feed himself.
For the first time ever, you have access to the world's best talent.
Stop it, you're making me blush. Anyone can join Fiverr. Anyone can join Fiverr. That is an awkward Freudian slip. Not everyone can join Fiverr. Some people's parents don't like being around them, so they go into the performing arts. When did this video become therapy? Anyone can join Fiverr and that day start selling their services. But if you want to be a pro member, you have to go through a fairly lengthy process to prove you're not shit. So in many ways, it is like trying to get your father's approval. By being a Fiverr Pro seller, I get preferential treatment in the ranking, I can't charge less than $100 for each gig, and I get this sweet pro badge next to my name, which you think would impress my mother more. I've given up trying to impress my dad, I've moved on to mum. The process to get verified as a pro seller took about 6 weeks, and it involved applying to Fiverr, waiting for a response/rejection, applying again, getting an email back from Fiverr asking for more information. Then I got accepted to the program on condition that I sit through a very lengthy 2-day unpaid induction where they basically explain that I'm not a member of staff. However, by having the pro badge next to my name, I do represent Fiverr, so don't do shit work. Isn't capitalism fun? Finally, I met my account manager who I can email if I have any problems with buyers or payments or whatever. It's another perk of being a pro seller. Now I've got my little badge, I need to make some gigs. To add insult to injury, Fiverr called all their jobs gigs, meaning this is the first gig I've done in a year and a half. In order to list a gig, I need to fill out a fairly lengthy form. While I was waiting for Fiverr to approve my account, I did some research and I found out that in order for your gigs to rank on the site, you need to have lots of keywords, a lengthy description, apparently it can't be, I'm great, hire me, and an image, ideally a video so people know you're taking your gig seriously. Basically it's the same as on YouTube. On YouTube you need to use a lot of keywords, a good length description, and the thumbnails need to be clear, professional, and convey a lot of information. Oh, that reminds me, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like it, subscribe, and also join my subreddit and Patreon. Both of those are linked below. Given I'm going to be selling podcast artwork and YouTube thumbnails, I want to spend a bit more time on the thumbnails for my gigs because more people will see those than read the listing.
Once more for the people at the back.
Generally, more people see the thumbnail than the content it links to.
One eternity later.
It's now the end of the day, I've submitted my gigs, and I now just have to wait for Fiverr to approve them. This can take upwards of 24 hours. I slightly changed my mind last minute, and so the gigs I've gone with are creating YouTube banners, creating YouTube thumbnails, designing Instagram carousel posts, and backing up your TikToks for YouTube. Because at the time of making this video, Trump is talking about taking down TikTok, and I figured some people might want like a compilation of their TikToks backed up and put on YouTube. So now we wait. Little update, gang. My gigs have been live for 3 out of the 4 weeks I was planning on making this video, and I have had nothing. I've had no hits, I've had no sales, and I emailed my manager at Fiverr today to find out what was going on. And he told me that my gigs were in the wrong category. He has now moved them to the right category, and I immediately started getting messages. So the first lesson is, don't be a moron like me. So why did Fiverr approve them if they were in the wrong category?
For the first time ever, you have access to the world's best talent.
Part 5. Selling my services. This is where I ran into my first issue with Fiverr. People can buy your gig without messaging you, and the clock to deliver it starts ticking the minute the gig goes through. Fiverr frowns on work being delivered late. In fact, there's more than that. They can take away your pro status or push you down in the ranking if you deliver your work later than you expected you could do it. So you need to overestimate the amount of time it will take to complete a gig, but not so much they'll think you're slow. This is when I started to get an overwhelmingly large number of messages for my services. Some seem legit and some not so much. Can you make my video go viral? No, I can't even make my videos go viral. I have an exceptional YouTube channel. Cool. You will make a banner for it that will lead to more views. No, I've just finished my best video ever and it needs a killer thumbnail. Can you not make my work look shit? Professional. I didn't take any of those gigs. Part 6. The results. Over the month I did 11 gigs. 7 gave me 5 stars and 1 gave me 2 stars. 2 people cancelled, which I'll get to in a minute, but now it's time for the juicy numbers. In total, I made $1,519.81. If you divide that by 11 gigs, I got $138.16 per gig. I would say each gig took about 5 hours to complete, if I don't include the time it took me to go through the spam DMs and filtering through messages where people were begging me to help them become a Fiverr Pro. As if that's something I can even do. That works out £27.63 per hour, which sounds great until Fiverr takes their 20% cut, and Payoneer, the payment service that Fiverr has partnered with, take their $1 per withdrawal. This leaves me with $22.10 per hour. I then need to convert it to Great British pounds so I can actually spend it, which takes it down to £15.58. Here in the UK, that sounds great because it's more than double the minimum wage. However, you're not working every day, and 8 of the 11 gigs came in my last 2 weeks on the site. Even if we forget about the 3 weeks where I was in the wrong category, I was on the site for 2 months. And I'd estimate that I was spending between 1 and 2 hours a day chatting to potential buyers that I wasn't getting paid for. So if we add on the 6 weeks that it took me to become a pro seller, that's about $1,500 for 4 months worth of work. Part 7. Conclusion. Let's start with the positives. If you're out of work, this is not the worst way to make money online. It says a lot about my experience that my first positive point is it's not the worst. The tools on the website are okay. The app, on the other hand, is rubbish. It's buggy, glitchy, and it's only really good for replying to buyers on the go. On weekdays, my manager was actually quite fast to reply. However, presumably because he's a full-time member of staff who's allowed paid downtime, over the weekends, the replies were sparse to non-existent. This sounds okay. However, most of my inquiries came in at the weekend where people were looking for extra cover. As a result, the 2 people that cancelled I couldn't dispute properly and I lost out on money. I'm just thinking if I'm working 7 days a week, you could employ someone just to cover the weekend. Let's go on with the negatives. As if we've not started with them. Sort your spam out, Fiverr. The amount of time I wasted reading spam from dickheads gave me the rare insight into what it must be like for every model on Instagram. Fiverr takes 20% of any money you earn. That just seems ludicrously high to me. Fiverr, even for pro accounts, is very much on the side of the buyer and not the seller. Story time. A famous YouTuber with a much bigger following than me purchased my banner gig on Fiverr. I'm sort of watching how I describe him now because I don't want you playing guess who in the comments. I designed him 4 banners taking me about a day and a half over the course of a week. With 3 hours to go, he cancelled the gig and I got paid nothing. When I asked Fiverr, they said their policy was to give the buyer a full refund and the seller would get paid nothing. This was the final straw for me and I took all my gigs off the site immediately after finding that out. So as a side hustle, I'd rate Fiverr 7 out of 10. It's okay, but you're not going to make millions out of it. Part 8. I still want to sell on Fiverr. Any advice? Yeah, don't do it. Sorry. If you insist on selling on Fiverr, here are some tips. Pick a niche and nail it. Apply and get pro status, because without it, you're going to be working for peanuts just to get your review and ranking up in order to make any real money. List the maximum amount of gigs that your account allows. Every level that you move up allows you to list a few more gigs, and the more gigs you have, the more likely it is that you can upsell people and add on packages or services that you can also provide. Treat it like a business and look at it that you're not going to actually make a profit or any decent money for 2 to 5 years. Yeah, I said 2 to 5 years. I hope you enjoyed that. If you liked it, like it, and don't forget to subscribe as I make 1 new comedy video every single week. If you'd like to see more of these, please do comment below and maybe even suggest some side hustles you'd like to see me investigate. If you've got a bit of spare cash floating around and you'd like to support me as an indie content creator, you can become an internet explorer via my Patreon. There's a link for that below. There's also a link for my shiny new subreddit. Why not join that? It's completely free. If you'd like to watch another video from me, there'll be a suggestion here and there'll be another suggestion here. Godspeed, and I'll see you all next Sunday.